So hopefully this is the final day of me reassembling interior of my Toyota MR2. Why did I even decide to, unscrew it all? So when I bought it, everything looked pristine. I mean, the paint job, the interior, all the plastics, luckily, is uncracked and, polished well and pretty much brand new. As much as it can be with the car this old. But the only thing which was in very, unpleasant condition was the cover of the gearbox. That thing was, I don't know, like, I'll try to find pictures, but like it would disintegrate when you touch it. So it was that bad. It was oily, it had holes in it, like you would not want to touch it. And with like the whole interior being clean, this thing will always be dirty. So my first little project, or repair task, was to get it out and saw a new one completely by myself, because I already have a sewing machine, and so that was my little project. So in order to do that, you have to, let me show you. This is what I'm doing. I already reattached the safety belt thingy. I have no idea what it's called. This one. I didn't have to take it off, but since I didn't know which of the bolts were holding the passenger seat, I would be just blindly unscrewing something, and the first bolt I unscrewed ended up being this one. But yeah, so this one, this is done. Now I need to remember, or I have 1,000 page manual to figure out which bolts go where and which screws go where. So I need to rebuild everything here. And this is the goal for today, and I hope I can do it. Because usually, it's not that difficult to just follow the holes and screw something into them. Well, let's begin searching for the right page in the manual. So the manual for MR2 3rd gen basically has a manual which is called the Big Green Book, or something like that. And why it's called that like that is because it's literally 1,000 pages long. It has all the information. I mean, it even has like tune-up maps, or like draft of them. It has all the things you might want to know about the car, all the screws, everything basically. And from what I remember, the body or like interior, section is somewhere on like page 600 something. I'm just trying to find it. I mean, I guess I can eyeball it, and I can pretty much wing it, because I do remember how it was disassembled, and I might have pictures where I tried to align all the screws and bolts around the holes I took them out of. But it's best to check or double check, because there's so many bolts. And what was interesting is that they're like, you would assume they're the same, and they are pretty much the same, but then some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, some of them are longer and shorter. Like, when you're measuring them, they're the same, but for some reason some of them might have this head, and another one might have that head, and I'm just not sure if the car, or like if the screws used there are the ones which were supposed to be used there. And another remark is that some of the screws are missing. So like I would say like 90% of all the screws, and already then I'm not sure if they are in the right places or the right screws in the right places, you know. And on top of that, some of them are missing, so like I would need to make compromises and know which of the parts I can, or like I have to secure, and which of the parts can be left, you know, willy-nilly for now, while I'm looking for JIS screws, because of course MR2 is a GDM car, so it uses a slightly different screw type, which of course I didn't know. But again, that's what gets you when you're a beginner. And we're learning, so let's see. So another thing is that I'm new to, you know, working with cars, since I never been around much of workshops. Usually it's just driven by pure enthusiasm. So like I can do it. Let's figure it out. And usually it works well. In some cases it doesn't, just because, you know, it takes a while for your hands to get moving in the right pressure, sensitivity, everything, because it's one thing to, you know, mesh everything together and hope for the best without caring how to do it properly. But when you try to do it properly, usually it requires, you know, lots of dedication with how you actually approach stuff. While we're at it, let's see how well of a job I did creating this cover. So I basically followed the original pattern. I just took the one which was, you know, falling apart, and then I traced it all up, and then I made, you know, some red stitching because my car is red. I'll show it in a later episode, but yeah, it actually feels nice. And the good thing, I still have the same, this is not a leather, so it's some you know, leather substitute, but if I want to change it up or do whatever I want, I have the parent pieces. I now know how it works, so it's just a matter of me, you know, working with the, you know, playing around with creative part, and then it actually turned out to be quite easy. So my car is tuned up. It has new ECU, and you know, when they were tuning it up, they had to install, of course, you know, air to fuel ratio meter. And the way they implemented here, removed all the bits of the console, and they intended it to be sticking out from here, but it doesn't hold well, so they just removed the, you know, container, which is this one, which you would use to, I don't know, throw glasses or, you know, a phone, if they had those in 89. What I'm thinking is I'll just unscrew this part. I'll reinstall the container back in, and then yeah, I think the air fuel ratio meter will just be, you know, hanging around there, and I need to worry and think of how I reattach it later on. Alright, I finally found the page for the instrument panel components, which is 924. I had to scroll a while, but now we can see all the different bolts we need to use for different places, and this is the thing I'm gonna be working on. So yeah, now I'll get to it. We'll see how long it'll take. I'll be marking down some of the things I find missing or faulty, or like which needs to be updated, changed, somehow looked after. So I'm starting to lose my mind. What I'm saying is that I need 7 bolts of certain size, and I have 5. So we're already not there. I need 2 more bolts which are close to this size to attach a different like instrument panel, which are also not there. So we're missing 4 now, and two of different types. And then we need 3 more bolts, of which I only have 1, at least according to the manual. I need 4 bolts to attach this thing here, and this is the only thing I have all 4 bolts. And then I also need 3 bolts to attach something, and I have 7, and I also have 1 unidentified bolt, which I assume works as a substitute for the same bolt. So like they didn't have the right one and they just used completely different one but of similar size. I have no idea how threading worked in their heads or how they made it all work, but it turns out we are missing quite a few bolts. I'm really curious to start working on, you know, some engine parts and more hardware stuff, because fucking hell, working with interior is a pain in the ass. Just, you know, all the smaller chunks and pieces, and like it's impossible to get to some places unless you of course remove everything else, and then you cannot remove everything else because you're trying to assemble it all together. So it's just frustration upon frustration upon frustration of you trying to find that, you know, angle to get to a specific place to, I don't know, just insane. I ended up having 1 screw left. What? I did need only 4. What? I'm so fucking lost. I guess the good thing with the seat and that is held by only 4 bolts is that, you know, it pretty much gets into place once you roughly align it. So I just need to struggle around it and, you know, tie everything neatly and tightly. Everything is rock solid now. All the seats, all the panels, all the everything, the new cover, everything is ready to go. Even though it's still cold for my Falcon tires, I'll give it a ride just around the garage area. I just need it here. Sometimes you just need to ride your car. That's it. And yeah, that's a successful mission. Even though we're still missing a few bits and bolts, I would need to run to the store, get some of those missing parts, and yeah, soon we're ready. Well, it couldn't have gone better. I finished everything up. The whole, interior is up and running, basically. I started the car up, and the dashboard doesn't work. I cannot see the speed, I cannot see RPM, nothing is showing. I was like, what? So electricity is working because the head beam does work. The light does work. Indicators do, like stop lights, right? Work. Tailgate work. When I press stop, or like when I brake, it also work. But my blinkers don't. Again, I don't see RPM, I don't see speedometer. So I guess I either disconnected some of the wires while I was, fiddling with the dashboard, or I actually punctured one of the wires with the screw when I was assembling something. But well, I guess in the next episode we are learning all about electronics.